So here we have Work Together 11-1. Our instructions read, partial purchases, cash payments, and general journals for graphics inks are given below. Also given below are accounts payable ledger account forms for selected accounts and blank forms for a schedule of accounts payable. Your amazing accounting teacher is going to guide you through the following examples. So we're going to start a new page for accounts payable ledger for Regal Designs. The account number is 240 and the balance on October 1st of the current year is $877. So let's go ahead and take a look here. We have journals on the top and we have ledgers on the bottom. So we'll open up our ledgers and we'll go to Regal Designs. Now, before we start filling anything in, I want eyes up here and I want you to look at this ledger. We use ledgers in order for us to get our information about specific accounts. So at any given point, I can look there to see what the value of it is. So in the past, you'd had an account called supplies. You'd look in supplies, and that would be how much we have. So we have general ledgers, and then we have our subsidiary ledgers. Our subsidiary ledgers are going to be our customers and our vendors. Okay? Vendors are going to be people that we buy things from. Customers are going to be people that are going to pay us for items. When you take a look at Regal Designs, you're going to see that this is a vendor. We know it's a vendor because it says right here, vendor, vendor, vendor. Okay? Vendors associate with accounts payable. Accounts payable is a liability. Liabilities start with what account number? 2. So this will also start with a 2. You will find that our general ledgers are going to have a 4-digit account number. So before we used to say like 210. Now, when we take a look at accounts payable, it'll actually be 2010 or 2100. And our subsidiary ledgers, like Regal Design here, is going to be a 3-digit account number, meaning 210. And they are always going to be listed in alphabetical order. Remember, we don't write anymore accounts payable Regal Design. We just say Regal Design. When I look at this ledger is a little bit different than what we've done in the past. So when I look here, date column, looks the same. Item column, all right, got that. Post reference, done that before. And then I have my debit, and then I have my credit. But then I want you to look at my balance column. What is different about my balance column? There is only a credit balance column because this is accounts payable. Accounts payable can never have a debit balance, right? So if this is somebody I buy things from, so the Thunder Zone is buying cookies. So I'm buying cookies from Reinhardt. Reinhardt is never going to owe me money back. I'm never going to owe pay, so that's why we're always going to have a credit balance column on there. So what we are going to be doing first off is we have to open up this account. To open up an account, we have to put our account title on the top. We have to give it an account number. But they also said this has a balance. So that means there was a previous ledger, it got all full, and we have to start a new one just to keep a running balance. The only time that you are going to be writing in the item column is if you have to open up the account and it has a balance from a previous page. So that is something a little bit different also on this ledger. So we are looking here at a subsidiary ledger, accounts payable ledger, and we're going to go ahead and open it up with an item column. So let's start first by filling in our account title where it says vendor. So we'll go ahead and put in Regal Designs. The vendor number they gave us is 240. Again, the 2 at the beginning indicates that it is a liability account, and 40 is just the order going in there. So it does tell us that there's a balance that goes associated with it. So I'm going to put in October 7th. And now I can't remember my word that I have to put in here. Does anyone have their accounting book? Oh, I got mine. Mine was hidden under stuff. I'm really drawing a blank on my wording here. 11. Oh, October 1st. Good call. That was even more confusing for it, wasn't it? Okay. And then in the item column, we're really going to put in the word balance. I don't need to put anything except a check mark in my post reference. And for a check mark, we use a V. And then I'm going to go all the way to the credit column, and I'm going to put in my balance, which is going to be $877. So what we just did is we opened up a subsidiary ledger account that had a previous balance and fill it in. Now, my next instruction reads, number 2, post the accounts payable credit line of 7 of the purchases journal to our accounts payable account for Regal Designs. So they want me to go to my journal for purchases, and we're taking a look at just line 7. So it just happens to be Regal Designs, so I can leave both of them open. Now, what you are going to find as we move forward using some of our work here is you might need to actually, in Chrome, reduce your zoom so you can see more on your page so you don't have to scroll as much and don't have to go back and forth. So again, I just go ahead and click on my 3 dots, and then you can zoom down, and it makes it a little bit smaller or a little bit bigger. The other thing you can do is you can use your control and your wheel and wheel up or down, and it will make it bigger and smaller as well. So if you find that you have to do a lot of scrolling back and up and down, work with that in Chrome, and it'll make your life a little bit easier. So when I look at the purchases journal here, I can see on the 17th it says Regal Designs and $1,430.20. The other biggest thing that we have to realize with Regal Designs is right here this wording says account credited. Everyone ignores this line right there that says accounts credited. So I know that Regal Designs is going to be credited that $1,403.20. So when I go to my subsidiary ledger, now I'll put the date of the 19th. I don't have to put anything in my item column, but I do have to put something in my purchases, my post-reference column. And I know I'm getting it from my purchases journal. I can't just do 10 because I don't know what journal it is. So I always need to use a letter that it's associated with our journal. So I have to do P for purchases and then 10 for page 10 of my purchases journal. Then I'm going to go ahead and put in a credit of $1,403.20. It previously had a credit balance of $877. So you take $877 plus $1,403.20 to give me my new balance of $2,280.20. The last step that you always do is you take this account number, 240, and it goes back up here in my purchases journal in my post-reference column to indicate that I posted that to my account number 240, which is Regal Designs. Now, some of you previously had tried to go through and randomly fill in all of your account numbers at the end for post-reference and put in dates. Do not do that now. I told you before that's not the right way of doing it. It'll really kick you in the butt here, and you'll lose a ton of points if you do it that way. So it's always important that you go from your journal to your ledger back to your journal. It's always a back and forth procedure. My next instruction reads, instruction 3, post the accounts payable debit entry on line 15 of your cash payments journal. So they're saying, okay, now go to your cash payments journal. And again, we just have a partial journal here, but they're saying line 15. Now, this is the other thing that's going to kick you. This column before, on the test, we needed to make sure we use this column for accounts payable. When I am posting this line, this is the amount that I'm going to use. It's going to be right here in this accounts payable column. We are not going to be posting right here from the general column. We're just going to post to that electrographic supply. The date is the 20th, so I have to choose my ledger on the bottom, electrographic supply. The date is the 20th, so I'll put that in my ledger. Post-reference. Okay. We know P stood for purchases. What do you think is going to stand for my cash payments journal? CP. I can't use C because I have cash receipts and cash payments. So I have to use CP, standing for cash payments. And then I'm going to do 15 because it's my 15th page on there. Now, electrographic supply. Cody, is it going to be debited or credited? Yes. I know that because this column up here on my cash payments journal says accounts payable debited. So I'm going to put in there $776 because that's what it says there. Now, here's another thing that we need to make sure we watch for is our directions. It says, note, type a 0 in the balance column to indicate a 0 balance. So when I look here, previously I had a credit balance of $776. I just debited it, 776. So a credit and a debit of 776 now gives me a balance of 0. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 0 in my credit balance. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in my post reference 230, indicating I posted that into account number 230. Instruction number 4 reads, post the credit entry on line 5 of our general journal to accounts payable account for electrographic supply. Okay, so I need to go to my general journal. So we are looking at line 5 of my general journal, and when I go across on line 5, it reads accounts payable, electrographic supply, and then I have a credit of $2,544. So I'm going to go ahead, electrographic supply is still open down below. I'm going to put the date of the 26th in there. My post reference is going to be what? What do you think it's going to be? G11, standing for General Journal, page 11. Now, it is going to be credited $2,544. It previously had a 0 balance, so you're going to put $2,544 in there. Now, in the last 2 chapters, I told you in your general journal that you have to put a slash in your post reference if you have a slash in your account title, because ideally what we're going to be learning in this chapter is I actually have to post line 5 twice. Once to the account accounts payable, and then again to the account electrographic supply, which is why there's a slash, because on the left side here I'd indicate the post reference for my account accounts payable. On the right-hand side would be my post reference for electrographic supply, because those are 2 separate accounts now. Before we lumped it all together, but now we keep it separate. So I'm going to put my account number 230 back up on line 5 for my post reference. Instruction number 4 also reads, post the debit entry on line 6 of the general journal to the accounts payable account for arts and things. So the 26th, basically we bought supplies on an account using memorandum 32. On the 28th, basically when we look at that one with our debit memorandum, what happens is we return something that we got from arts and things. So we have to go through and debit art and things. So I'm going to open up my ledger account art and things, put the date of the 28th, that is from my journal. Post reference is going to be G11, and I'm going to debit art and things $125. It previously had a balance of $873, and I'm going to subtract $125. So then I have a new balance of $748. Last step, again, is account number 210 up top. So, posting is not new, would you agree? You just have to look at how things are tweaked a little bit because we have special journals and how we get them in there. Here's the thing. We now have, ideally, 3 ledgers that to work with. Before this chapter, we just had one ledger. We just had our general ledger where our accounts went. Now, because we use a subsidiary ledger, we have accounts receivable ledger, we have an accounts payable ledger, and we have a general ledger. We always need to make sure after we post that we check to make sure our debits and credits equal. How we check to see if our debits and credits equal is going to be called a schedule of accounts payable. So we have this form listed here down on the bottom. I'm going to scroll down so I can see my ledgers and my form. So it told us in the directions to prepare a schedule of accounts payable for Graphic Inks on October 31st of the current year. Accounts payable balance in the general ledger on October 31st is $6,558.20. So in my general ledger, where I see supplies and advertising expense and cash, there is an account called accounts payable. The balance there is this number. This is important because this will be our way of knowing if we did everything correct. So it's important to know they give us that number in our directions and what we have to do with it. To start our schedule for accounts payable, we start in the very top with the name of our business, which is not Auto Restoration, it is Graphics Inc. Next line is going to be the name of our financial statement. Our financial statement that we are completing is called a schedule of accounts payable. The third line is always going to be the date. Okay? Our schedule of accounts receivable and payable are always going to be prepared on a specific day, meaning like September 30th, November 4th. They're never going to say for a period ended or for quarter ended. So it's always going to be a day, and in this case, it's going to be October 31st. Now, what we do is we take a look at our ledger, starting with our first ledger account, and how do I know that Art and Things is my first ledger account? This alphabetical, how else? How do I know it's my first one? Vendor numbers. Okay, so alphabetical, vendor number, and list. They always start at the top and go down. It's important because Applia is going to be picky, and if you don't list it in the right order, it's going to mark it all wrong. So my first account I have is Art and Things. So Art and Things has a balance of $748. So I just write Art and Things and put $748. Then I switch to my next one, which is Can Do Graphics. Now, did we put anything in Can Do Graphics? No. So when you see that line there where it looks like you should put something in there, don't worry about it. Balance for Can Do Graphics is $986. Then we switch to Electrographic Supply for $2,544. Then we go to Regal Designs with a balance of $2,280.20. Break out your handy-dandy little calculator, and you add up those numbers. Add up your 748, 986, 2,544, $2,280.20. And I got this number that says $6,558.20. Does that number sound familiar? It better. The whole point of preparing a schedule of accounts payable is right here, the number that they said that the account equals, accounts payable, needs to equal this number right here. If it doesn't, there's a mistake, and you have to find and fix it. Your debits and credits don't equal. Now, the other thing that's going to come into play, at the bottom of this schedule of accounts payable, you're all going to write the word total. You're all going to get it wrong. So we don't write the word total. We are always going to write total accounts payable. If you make a schedule of accounts receivable, it would say total accounts receivable. So we know right here, this number is so important to us as a business because for Graphics Inc. on October 31st, they owed $6,558.20 to all of their vendors. That's powerful information. They then know how much money they have going out for their cash flows to see whether or not they have enough money. So this total number is really important. But we also need the individuals too, because at any given point, we should be able to look to say, okay, what do I owe Can Do Graphics? So again, I'm just going to write in there total accounts payable, check answer. Now, when we get to these, they're a little bit harder to see because you have to open up each ledger to see if you've made a mistake on each one individually. So just be aware of that because it's a drop-down menu, which is nicer than having to scroll a whole bunch on the way down. But go ahead and try on your own.